Hey everyone, Gabriel Invert Zoltan Johan here, head coach of Immortals LCS, here to give you the Immortals Progressive weekend recap. So of course, we went 0-3 this weekend, incredibly disappointing. We as competitors don't really see that as acceptable, especially with the quality of this roster and especially with how our systems are going and how practice is going. We think this is a poor reflection of our efforts and hope to improve that as we continue on the year. So on Saturday, we played against CLG and Dignitas. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues in the office, so we're unable to play on our setups that we're used to from scrims. We played on our setups at home instead, which is definitely not an excuse for the performance, but definitely contributed to some challenges in terms of how we were able to handle the game. We had some good comeback plays and had the ability to play out our comps a little later into the game, but we actually had some difficulties and some weak side play that we should never have had, or played on our strong side and didn't generate numbers advantage properly when we should have. So those are things that definitely contributed to those losses. Against EG, we had a comp that wanted to be connected as 5 and going together in team fight. The level 1 actually went way in our favor. We got stacks on Victor. Drago Xerxes won the smite fight, which was fantastic and was super ahead on jungle, but we took some bad trades, got into bad conditions, and then we messed up at the first TF ult. You know, we gave them a TF ult, they didn't get anything out of it, and then they ended up getting a kill out of mispositioning afterwards. So we're trying to approach practice differently next week, especially when it comes to how we communicate with one another, being more assertive and less suggestive, being more proactive and less reactive. I think those are big things that we're going to do moving forward in terms of changing our system. And then as well as that, just being way more productive in our review, making it more streamlined, and making sure that we have key takeaways that actually are retained and are able to be applied to, again, the system that we're trying to create. Yeah, I think that's a great question. So one of the things we're doing to keep the environment competitive is, of course, structuring the office in such a way where, you know, it feels at least kind of similar to stage. Everyone's sitting next to each other, have some white noise going potentially, you know, all the things that you might see on the Riot stage. You know, we are in a work environment. At the end of the day, we're in an office. So players come in here, they bring professional behavior and conduct and, you know, approach these days in the office, and they're set up in the office with like an amount of professionalism that dictates that they take this very seriously, right? So I think that's how we kind of maintain our competitiveness, or the competitive feel of the office, is everyone here wants to win, everyone here is fiercely competitive, and so we approach our days with that in mind in the office, yeah. So some indicators of success, of course, the results should be one of them, and our results are pointing to some things not working. That in and of itself is a success, right? Using lock-in to find out what we need to work on when it comes to practice, or how we think of matchups, or how we think of our performance on stage, how we think of our communication in game and in draft and out of game. These are all things that for me are victories heading into the LCS season, because we can find solutions to them now and not have them kind of impact our potential success in the LCS if we were to discover these things later. So definitely taking these lumps now so that we can be better later and actually find solutions to these things and work through these problems as we go through it. Because the LCS year, at the end of the day, it truly is a marathon. There's a lot to go through and a lot of things to work on, and it's about being disciplined, consistent, and patient as well. Yeah, I actually think this is an amazing question. Oftentimes, as a coach, you have to balance between decompression and reviewing, and it really depends on the context of the game itself. If it's a really close, hard-fought win or loss, it might not be that fruitful to review that immediately. It might be more fruitful to get the emotions out and decompress. If it's a really devastating loss, you know, you could do the same thing. But to me, it really is contextual. It really depends on the method to all that. Oftentimes I don't like to review right after a game because players are especially emotional, regardless of the result. So the retention isn't really possible for like the analytical points. Definitely want to end lock-in on a positive note with the win against TL, especially for the guys. It's a grudge match. For me, I want to take that energy for that grudge match factor and really channel it into our practice this week so that we can show our best against TL. So I'm pretty stoked about that, and that's the feeling I think everyone else is gonna have as well, especially considering how we ended this first week. No one's happy with it, so that's kind of the chip on our shoulder that we're gonna carry into the TL match as well.